At the end of November in 2018, enthusiastic 8th graders from Shanghai American School were chosen to be a part of the Wildfires, the 23rd Microcampus group. I, along with 15 other classmates, was chosen to spend 28 days in a small village named Xizhou, Yunnan Province in China. Away from my family in the populated suburbs of Shanghai, I set out to study, explore, and learn about the weather of Xizhou as my inquiry project because of my fascination of beautiful weather in Yunnan. In order to examine the perspectives upon the weather of horse car drivers, travel agents, and local fishermen, one might consider the logistics, personal opinions, and future generation changes upon the weather of Xizhou. As I encountered with many local citizens of Xizhou, I heard repeated information about weather and patterns throughout the year. The first common piece was about fewer factories and beneficial transportations. Therefore, the AQI of Xizhou is kept low. As a part of the countryside, Xizhou does not have any factories, and their main source of transportation is motorcycles, instead of large-sized buses that run across the village every day. While talking to the vendors near Sifang-jie, it led me to the realization that tourists come to Xizhou often because of their good weather. Tourism is dependent heavily upon the weather. On the days with bad weather, fewer tourists would visit. On better days, tourists come out and visit the village. More income would be earned by vendors or restaurant owners. After understanding the importance of great weather, tourists should consider the best time for traveling, which is any time between September and March or between May and June. Around Qingmingjie, the rain starts to fall and the rainy season is just between July and August. If you are afraid of winter being too cold or the summer being too hot, then do not worry. Xizhou has a spring-like sensation year-round due to the balance Tangshan and Lake Erhai provides for the village in between. As globalization becomes more popular, it becomes easier to accomplish many things. We are now able to check the weather forecasts everywhere throughout the world. That is what the villagers here in Xizhou choose to do, to predict weather and number of tourists. Although some may argue the accuracy or liability of weather forecasts, many citizens look to the west to see if there were any dark clouds above or around Tangshan for signs of rain. Apart from factual information, I was also able to learn about some personal preferences and approaches to the weather. A horse car driver I talked with explained his job was not affected by the weather at all. His business would continue through thick and thin, something I didn't know of before. But on the other side of the road, a travel agent, Miss Yang, responded, saying her job is dependent solely on the weather. If the weather was not great, there will be fewer tourists around to plan tours for. Travel agencies are dependent upon the number of tourists. Ms. Yang and her colleagues check weather forecasts to predict the number of tourists that might arrive that day. Talking to a local fisherman, I realized how crucial great weather is. Their job's safety relies upon sunny days, while on rainy or windy days, fishing becomes dangerous. Speaking of which, the weather is not easily measured. Xizhou's weather changes so rapidly. Some argue that weather forecasts are accurate 90% of the time. Some say the exact opposite. The last thinks they are right 50% of the time. Between a horse car driver, a local fisherman, and a travel agent, none of them believe the weather can be changed by humans. They believe the weather is all natural, controlled by a greater power, possibly God. These different personal points of views gave me unique perspectives on the weather. As humanity is moving into a new era, none of the people with the 3 occupations above believe small store businesses will be closed because of outside influences. They think it will be passed on from generations to the next, and humans will not be able to change them into shopping malls we have in urban areas of China. On top of that, they do not think advancement in technology would increase the number of factories due to Xizhou's countryside area. Yet, without beneficial human efforts, they believe global warming will be an issue in the near future, which is why we must all work together as one to protect our sky, our environment, our home. Although uncertain the needs of doing so, they prefer if future generations can grow trees, more plantations for the society. Being around nature seems to bring everyone closer together. They have a common goal to achieve. Considering the future changes, personal opinions, and logistics of the weather, one can understand the lives of horse car drivers, travel agents, and local fishermen. The most effective and alluring factor of weather in Xizhou is the low AQI caused by a few factories and simple transportations. This gives off the blue skies, fluffy clouds, and the good view we see every day. Although the weather has been kept protected, tourists might not be a fan of unpredictable weather changes throughout the day. Some might also consider weather forecasts to be more accurate on sunny days than on rainy days. Nonetheless, tourists should always be properly dressed and prepare for cases of rain. Lastly, the combined efforts of humans are needed to protect our weather and environment. Throughout the past 20 days while I worked on my inquiry project, I earned many life skills. As a person, I think I have developed the skills of communication and confidence. Back in Shanghai, I was never able to walk up to strangers and have conversations with them, or even while ordering food. I am afraid of how they will react. Here in Xizhou, I seldomly have to worry about feeling rejected or shut out by any of the villagers. Everyone I have talked to was warm-hearted and helped me through all my work. Inquiry Project gave me an opportunity and experience to branch out to strangers or other people in our community. Having casual conversations felt so normal yet fulfilling. These are skills I will bring with me back to Shanghai.